part 2 of making cleanCalc. So what I'm going to do is open my folder that I made with GitHub, and I'm going to go into my Elon Guy repos, and I'm going to open this folder and say OK. So I personally like using Visual Studio Code. Whatever you have, whatever you like to use is up to you. So I'm just going to open this file up, and of course it contains nothing because we haven't written everything. So yeah, let's just think about a calculator. All right, so what does a calculator do? Well, it adds numbers, it subtracts numbers, it multiplies, it divides. All right, so let's just think about that. So we got, all right, so / to comment things out so it doesn't run in your code. So we got something that subtract, add, divide, multiply. So this is super basic, you know. Now, how do we do this? How do we get this to work? All right. So let's think about that. So we know we need something that does something. So we can start with a function. And let's start with a function of, let's do add, just to make it simple. So we have a function that adds, and when we put something in a calculator, which I have right here, it takes, you know, usually 2 numbers. So I have 2, an operation, plus 2, and bam, equals 4, obviously. So we're going to have to take 2 arguments. So we're going to have argument 1, and we're going to have argument 2. All right, so next we're going to add is our curly brackets. And so it looks pretty good right now. So now what we're going to do is actually put argument 1 plus argument 2. And we're going to return this. All right, so this function does something, and it's going to return argument 1 plus argument 2. All right, so we're going to duplicate the next function. So it's going to be the same. It's going to be function. And this time we're going to subtract, okay? And we're still going to use the same arguments, arg1, comma, arg2. And curly brackets. And we're going to return arg1 minus arg2, semicolon. All right, so whatever that's passed into this function, or should I say into this parameter, will be put in this values place, okay? So this argument here will go into the function as this argument, and this argument here will go into this as argument 2. All right, so if you put 5, this will be 5. If you put 4, this will be 4. So obviously 5 minus 4 will return 1. So I'll just put this. This will return 1. All right, hope that wasn't too complicated. Okay, guys, so I just went ahead and typed in the multiply function and divide function, and that wraps up, for the most part, our basic functions. So to test this, I'm actually going to run one of the functions, and I'm going to run the add function. So I'm going to type in add. You can see here, I can put an argument that says any, which we might have to fix later, and arg2, I'll put that in there, and then I'm going to end it with a semicolon to make it work. So I'm going to run this in the terminal using node. Okay. Now, if you see here, here's my terminal, and I'm going to run it there. But first, let me save. So I'm going to control save this, and now it's ready to be ran. So I'm going to type in node, and then I'm going to actually type in the name of this file, calc.js. And you want to make sure that you're in the right folder where the file is contained. All right, so now I have node calc.js, and so this is going to add 2 and 2 together, and hopefully we get 4. So now that I have it console logged and saved, let's see what happens. So we'll run it again, node calc.js, and there we have it, 4. So we can go through and test all these functions. Let's try again. So we'll just say subtract, and we're going to subtract 2 minus 2, and then hopefully we get 0, and there you have it. So I recommend you mess around with this and test the rest of the functions to make sure everything was written correctly, and that'll do it for this part. All right, so what I'm going to do here is going to go back and introduce a new variable called last result. And I'm going to use camel case. Last result. I'm going to make this equal to 4 zeros. It doesn't matter what it is, but here we have var last result equals 0. You can even set this to null. Doesn't matter. Now, last result. Let's think about what last result will do. So in a typical calculator, let's open up a calculator here. I'll add 5 plus 5 and equals 10. Now this 10 is officially the last result. I'm not going to add another argument. I'm just going to add one argument. All right, so I'll choose an operation. So I'm going to hit plus 5, and there we have 15. And now this is the new last result. I'll add plus 5 again, 20, and so on and so forth. So this is the last result. And we want this to happen in our calculator. Now, I'm going to type in last result. If you notice, I don't put var because I already have it stated here what it is. And I'm going to put in the function add 5 all right, and that should give us 10. So I'm going to console log last result. I'm going to save this here. So this should change to 10 after it completes this function, and we'll console log the result. So once again, I'm going to type in node calc.js. Hopefully this works, and there we have it, 10. Next, what I'm going to do is actually reuse the last result as an argument. So I'm going to set last result equal to add 5, and I'm going to type in last result. All right, so this last result should be 10. So we have 5 plus 5 here equals 10. And now this last result will equal 10. So we should have 5 plus 10. And then this console log should give us 15. All right. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to run it. And let's see if our expectations matches the code. And it does. So this last result, is just a basic feature of a calculator where we only have to input one argument. All right. So we're going to leave that there, and we're going to mess with that later on in the video. Okay, well, what I'm next going to do is actually push this to GitHub. And I'm going to delete this because this was just a test. So this is a successful version 1. So what I'm going to do is git, and I'm going to add all the files. So I just do is git add, then I hit period. And now it's added all the files to my remote directory. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to commit. So I'm going to type in git commit, and I'm going to type in first commit. Oh, of course, you want to do git commit minus m or m minus. Oh, sorry, I lied. It's minus m. And that's it. Always forget that. So yeah, git commit minus m, and I just put first commit. And now it's stored on my master, as you can see here. And it has one file changed, and I inserted 24 lines. And finally, what I'm going to do is actually going to push it to GitHub on the web. So I'm going to do git push origin, and this is from the master, as you can see here. All right, so it's going to ask for my username, and that's Elium Guy. And then next is going to ask for my password. And hopefully I remember it. And there it is. It pushed everything to GitHub. All right, and then I'm going to hit refresh. And now we have calc.js. Now I want to save this whole instance. Okay, I have this as a commit, but I actually want to add this thing called a tag. So if you see where it says 0 releases, I'm going to add a tag. So that's going to save the file, everything in this folder. It's going to save the README. It's going to save the calc as its own zip file. And I'm going to put this in, it's going to put this in the release. So I'm going to go back to the terminal. I want to do git tag. I'm going to call this, version 1. So I'll just do 1.0, something like that. And now it created a tag. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to push the tag. So I'm going to git push -- tags. And this means it's going to push the tags to GitHub. So I want to actually do git. I don't know if it's git push tags. We'll try git push tags first. See what happens. Yep. So git push tags. Once again, ask for my username and my password. All right. So now I created a new tag, 1.00. Once again, I want to go back to my repository, and I have this release is going to change. Should say 1. Wow, there it is. 1 release. And there it is, a zip file, or tar gz file if you're using Mac or Linux. So this is actually the whole contents of the repository it just saved. So every time you do something drastically different, I would recommend making a tag. So that's actually a little short tutorial on how to push the changes and add a tag.